Yo, what it do, y'all? It's your man Mike Titan, the gaming savant, back with some more 3on3 Freestyle. Today, I'm gonna be starting a little mini 5-part series that I like to call, I guess you call character comparison, contrast, all this other stuff. Essentially, what I'm gonna be doing is comparing each position, the two characters from each position, because you have two characters for each position. Letting you know the strengths and weaknesses, what, in my opinion, they should be used for and not used for. Because I know there's a lot of new people playing the game. Some people that just see this game, it's like, oh, this looks like NBA Street. I should try it out. And then you get like, who are all these characters? What are all these skills? What do all these numbers mean? And just don't know what the hell is going on. So I figured I'd try to give my, little knowledge that I have on all these skills and characters and kind of let people know what they should be doing with each character and which one works for them or not. So we're gonna start with the big man, the centers. You got Luther, who is essentially 50 Cent, and then you got Big Dawg, who is essentially Gerald Levert in this game. First off, we're gonna be going over Luther. As you can see on the screen, we have his stats on. So these are his character attribute stats. So each stat is kind of self-explanatory. The ones that are kind of confusing, I'll go over just what I think they mean. I kind of have an idea of what they are, but we don't 100% know until the game comes out or they give like a more explanation of each stat. But starting off with Luther, his close range shot 217. That is the highest in the game by far. So his shot close to the basket, most times is gonna go in. I do see he is the one that I know he doesn't have manual dunk, but he does get a lot of dunk animations. For y'all that see his dunk animations, like his windmills and stuff like that, from the game that this game is kind of based off of, Freestyle 2 on the PC, those are called freestyle dunks. Now in this dunk, they're just kind of random animations, but in those games, you would do stuff to get that freestyle and then he would do a special dunk. So in this game, Luther gets those dunks. It's kind of just a random animation. Mid shot is 102, not good. He's a center, he's not supposed to be shooting the ball. Three-pointer, 51. Once again, he's a center. He's not freaking Dirk Nowitzki, so don't expect him to be draining threes. Although I have seen people make threes with him and I just shake my head. It's like, okay, 51 is a good rating for a three then. Short distance layup is gonna be a 192, so it's kind of self-explanatory. His layup's close to the basket, higher rating for that. Long distance layup, I'll go more over this stat in videos when I get to the small forward and shooting guards, because there are characters that greatly excel in that, and I kind of want to explain it to a character that's good at it so I can kind of give more detail. But essentially just think of how far you can do a layup from the basket. That's what you're thinking about this one. Short distance dunk, same thing, 217. So it's dunks under the basket. That's why I guess he doesn't need manual dunk, because he can just dunk under the basket at will. Long distance dunks, kind of the same thing, 128. Not great, but hey, don't expect him for trying to be dunked from the free throw line. Passing, 64. He's a center. He doesn't really need pass. Still is a 64. Same thing. He's a center. Don't expect him to be like Gary Payton. Drive in shot block. So here's a new thing that I noticed in this game. They have two shot blocking ratings. One for driving in, so essentially somebody trying to do a block, somebody trying to do a dunk or a layup, and then jump shot block. So he has a higher jump shot block, so he's pretty good about blocking people's shot when they're trying to shoot on him. So if he gets matched up against a smaller character like a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, and you can stay in front of them, you can get a good block animations. Driving to the basket, you can still get blocks. Blocking in this game, what I've noticed, is kind of more about timing, let alone your block rating. So if you have good timing with your character, you can pretty much, block almost anything if you got good timing. And then we get to his rebounding stats. Now, balance. Now, some people have been looking at this as like, what the hell does balance mean? In the game that this is based off of, Freestyle 2 Street Basketball, the PC game, there is a stat called tussle. Essentially, this is like your, because in all honesty, it's kind of one of those myths in the game where people really don't know what the hell it does, but there's some things it does do and don't do. In this game, we'll just equate this to strength, equate balance to strength. So when you go into box out and you're trying to push people out the way, let's just say balance is your strength when you're trying to push people out for box out. It more than likely is used for other things too, but to not try to get too deep and analogical of it, just think of it as strength. So Luther has the highest balance in the game, so he's going to be a rebounding monster. As you see, he has 192 rebound as well. I believe that is also the highest rebound in the game. So with Luther, essentially what you want to do is grab rebounds, get real close to the basket, and try to dunk on people at will. We're gonna go over his skills in a second, and you'll see why he has some pretty good skills to dominate down low. But that's pretty much Luther's game. 64 speed, 77 stamina, so not the fastest guy, but hey, you don't expect him to be running track meets out there. So next we are gonna go over Luther's skill. First thing is hook shot. Kind of self-explanatory. You use the left stick and the shoot button, hold it away from the basket. He shoots a hook shot. Next up, we have box out. Kind of self-explanatory again. Box out, push people out the way, try to get rebounds, get in position for rebounds. This is every big person in this game has this, so this is pretty integral to make sure you get good at boxing out so you can make sure you're in position to get rebounds. Next up, we have turning shot. Essentially, this is one of his skills that goes great with his high under the basket rating, where he can shoot inside under the basket. Essentially, you get close to the rim, you hold the shoot button, he does kind of like a quick, it's kind of hard to explain without showing it on screen, but he just does like a little quick turning shot where he just throws the ball up to the basket. As you can see, it has different levels to it, so the shot accuracy goes up as you level up the skill. So once you get up to level 5, you know, he'll have a 6% higher chance of the accuracy of it going in. After that, we have post fake. So this is another good skill. Essentially, if you, for this skill, you want to back people down to the basket, and then if you hold R1 and then the left stick, and he does kind of like, I don't want to say a drop step, but he drives to one side from the post. With this skill, you can fake it. So you can fake to one side, go to the other side, then go to a shot. Next skill that we have is tip-in. So tip-in is essentially going off a rebound. So let's say a shot misses, you can tip in the ball. You also see that this can also be used as a putback dunk as well. It doesn't say it on here, but I have done it with him in game, where he'll essentially grab the ball off the rebound and just dunk it in. When I tell you that that is one of the most satisfying things you can do in this game, is do a tip in, because it just shows you just like beasting on the boards. It's like, oh, hey, a rebound. No, I'm gonna dunk and put my nuts on your head and pretty much posterize you. So I'm gonna need you to sign that after this game. As you can see, it has 7 levels as well. So the higher level that you get, the higher accuracy that it is that it goes in. The next skill, which is locked, is blocking catch. So essentially, instead of just blocking the shot, you can hold the R1 button in square and they will do a blocking catch, where they essentially snag the ball out of the air and just embarrass the crap out of your opponent. Now, this is also one of those skills that's best used for jump shot people. So if you get matched up on a smaller guard and they try to shoot up on you, instead of blocking the ball and just have it be a loose ball, you can block and catch it, or you'll block, catch it, automatically get possession, and then you can pass it to somebody else on offense and try and score. And then the last skill that Luther gets is dunk at will. Essentially, just go to the basket and they just do a dunk animation. Luther already gets his own dunk animations. So I'm assuming he's going to get his own dunk at will animation, because both the power forwards that we'll go over in the next video, Murdoch and Lulu, have different dunk animations for dunk at will. So I assume the same thing is going to go for Luther, where he'll get his own, you know, special dunk animation just for his character. Now, his first skill, his passive skill, is going to be dominating force. So all of his stats increase when matched up against the opponent at the same position. So essentially, if he's going against Big Dawg or another center, if they put more in the game, all his stats are going to increase. This is pretty good if you get matched up against another center. I'm not sure how much they increase because it doesn't say on here. I would imagine it's probably just a couple of %, but that's a good passive skill to have. So when you're matched up against a center, you know that all your stats are automatically going to increase. And then the last passive skill for Luther is going to have the king under the basket. So this one is locked, but whenever you want to lock it, when the full game comes out, all teammate shot accuracy increase after a successful rebound. Which means if you get an offensive rebound and you pass the ball out to a shooter, more than likely they're going to increase their chances of making that shot. So in my opinion, Luther overall, dominator down low. So you want to get rebounds with him. You can score in the post real close with him. You know, he's not the jump shooter. He's not somebody that's going to be dribbling the ball, but he's definitely, I would say, probably by far the best rebounder in the game, and then best person scoring inside the paint. Now next, we got his counterpart, Gerald Levert, aka Big Dawg. For y'all that have played FS2, I consider this dude to be a CT of the game. Essentially why I say that is because he's a center, but he has all point guard passing skills, and I'll go over those in a second. But you see his skills, he has 204 close range shots, so very good. I think that's the second best in the game. Not as good as Luther, but he can still score inside the paint as well. The same 102 mid-range, 51 three-pointer, 179 short distance layup, so once again lesser than Luther. He also has a 102 long distance layup, 204 short distance dunk, 128 long distance dunk, and here's the kicker right here. He has a 153 pass. For y'all that don't know, pass pretty much affects how fast your pass will go, how accurate your passes are gonna go. So for a center, that's pretty good. Go down, he has 77 steal, 115 shot in block, and 179 jump shot block. So not the best shot blocker, but he can still kind of hold his own if you know what you're doing when trying to block a shot. And the next thing, he has 204 balance, or as I like to say, 204 strength, and then 179 rebound. So once again, he's a worse rebounder than Luther. But I would just consider Big Dawg to kind of be the point center, like point forward. I would say think of him of like Joakim Noah, somebody that can set up the offense with passing, get his teammates involved, and all the other things. 64 speed and 77 stamina. So overall, just looking at his stats, Big Dawg is somebody who I wouldn't necessarily say he would be, I'm not gonna say he's bad on offense, but you're not gonna want to use him as your main scorer. At least with Luther, you can kind of use him as a main scorer because he can dominate down low, especially if he's matched up against a small. With Big Dawg, he's pretty much just keeping the offensive moving. So you want to match him with two shooters, small forwards. You can match him with the power forward, which we'll go over in the next video, that can score. He'll be a really good person with setting up your offense. And here are some of the reasons why. Some of the skills he get. Now, the first skill we're gonna go over is kill pass. When I tell you this is probably one of the best skills in the game, just in my opinion. Essentially, for y'all that don't know, kill pass is essentially when you get in a situation whenever you're heavily defended, which means you got people, like people by you, two people on you. You'll get a real quick animation where they just kind of throw the ball out, and you can throw it to your teammate for an open shot. This is really good with Big Dawg because he can get a rebound. Normally what I've seen is that there's a lot of people in the paint whenever the jump shot goes up. So he gets that. You'll see the kill pass indicator, which pops up a lot. Throw it to your open teammate. He'll do like some little fancy pass, and then they'll be able for an open shot. So kill pass is very good to have, especially on a big. Next one, box out, self-explanatory. Same thing we went over with Luther. Next skill he has is block pass. Here's another thing which is kind of good, kind of like Luther's block catch, except for in this case, whenever you block and it randomly activates, so it's not going to activate all the time, but when it does activate, it would essentially block it and pass the ball to your teammate. So this is another way that you can play with Big Dawg. Granted, he doesn't have the best block, but if he does get a block and this activates, it'll automatically go to your teammate. You guys can set up the offense and go on from there. So you don't have to worry about trying to chase a loose ball or anything. The next skill that he has is going to be touch pass. So essentially this is not kill pass, this is non-stop pass from FS2. So essentially what this does is that if you get past the ball and you push the X button quick enough, he'll rapidly pass it back. So it's kind of like a touch pass. So like, hot potatoes, like let's say you get past the ball, you pass it over to your teammate. That's why I said Big Dawg is really good about keeping the offensive flow going, because you can just pass the ball to him, he can pass it back, do kill passes. Next skill that he has, and the last skill, is gonna be chip out pass. So Lulu has this skill to chip out, but with chip out pass, essentially he will tap the ball to the next open teammate. Next skill that's locked in this beta that he gets is layup pass. Essentially from FS2, this is called jump pass. So essentially what this does is that Big Dawg will go for a layup and then he'll just pass the ball mid layup animation to anybody that's closer to him. Now granted, you want to make sure that you're either close to him or you're in his vicinity, because you can do this and then if you're like guarded by somebody or you're too far away from him, he'll just throw the ball away and it'll become a loose ball. But this is a pretty good skill. Not too useful because like I said, you wouldn't use Big Dawg as your main scorer. He'll just be more of somebody to set up your offense. So this is a good skill whenever you're trying to drive to the basket with him. The last skill that he gets is alley-oop pass. Now I know a lot of y'all saw this from the gameplay demos that came out before the beta came out. Essentially he can just throw alley-oops to people. So you push the triangle button to call for an alley-oop. He pushes a button, he'll throw an alley-oop pass to you. Pretty self-explanatory. So his passing skills, his pass speed is increased when passing to an open player. So essentially his passes get faster if you're open. So if he's driving the ball and somebody's open in the corner for a three, passes out to him, his passive skill kicks in and they get a faster pass animation. Speaking over myself right now. And then lastly, his last passive skill is What a Pass. When an open player receives a pass, the player's shot accuracy increases. This is also good. So this is why I say that Big Dawg is pretty much a point center or a point forward, whatever you want to call it. Because both of these two activated at the same time, if they can be activated, which I assume they can. He'll pass the ball faster, and then once that open person gets that shot, their accuracy is going to increase. Once again, we don't know how much it's going to increase. It's not explained here, but pretty much they'll get a higher chance of making in the shot. So he boosts up his teammate by passing him with the open pass. Overall, I like Big Dawg. Just for me personally, I like Luther better because I like getting rebounds. I like, dominating down low in the paint. I would say Big Dawg is good if you have somebody that likes to, I guess, as a big man, set up other people. So set up your shooting guards, your small forwards, things of that nature. Luther's for you if you want to dominate down low, grab rebounds. You can do the same thing on Big Dawg, but you can do it better on Luther. So that's kind of where the compare and contrast comes in. Luther, he's going to be grabbing your rebounds. He's going to be getting blocks. He's going to be scoring down low right in the basket. Big Dawg, he's going to be trying to get a lot of assists. He's the cog that keeps the offense's wheel spinning. He'll pass to open people, set them up, boost them up with his passive skills. So those are my two breakdowns of Luther and Big Dawg in this game. Leave me some comments below, and I'm gonna be saying this in every video. If there are some skills on a character that you don't understand how to do or how to use, or want a video on how to do it, I'll definitely gladly make one if enough of y'all request it. That's going to be it for today's video. Be on the lookout for part 2, where we're going to go over the power forwards, Murder Murdoch and Sweet Lulu. I want to thank you guys for watching. It's your man, Mike Titan, and I'm out this piece. Gone.